And there doesn't seem to be too much of anything in the way of a concern for right now, but there is going to be that possibility that we see some heavier weather coming our direction into overnight. Again, it doesn't appear to be heading our direction anytime soon. We'll take a look about what's going on with the potential of anything involving severe weather here in just a little bit, but primarily at the beginning portion of the evening. Make certain audio is working properly on Facebook because we have to, because Facebook audio is having problems in and of itself. So it sounds like everything is working there for right now. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. This is Weather Overtime, looking down to our south and west just before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. We've got a couple of tornado watches into around the Mississippi Delta and a couple of tornado warnings in effect at this time, but we're not seeing anything at this point in the way of really anything major taking place where we are. We'll take a look at local radar coming up here in just a little bit. It is Monday evening. We are live on Facebook and Twitch TV. And hopefully, if everything works in the next week or two, we may be moving on to YouTube, depending on how many more webcams I can hook up to this system, and we'll see how well that works. But in the meantime, thanks to everybody for joining us on our simulcast of Facebook and Twitch. And again, stay tuned for more in the course of the next few weeks, and we'll keep you updated on how things will be going there. We'll be looking for the potential of some possibly more rough and tumble weather overnight, but severe weather does not appear to be an issue. Rainfall just west of the area into about 10 o'clock Eastern Time, and so we may see the potential of some more problems coming up a little bit later on with that. Overnight could be some slick travel out there, but for right now, it doesn't appear to be a major concern, and man, we need that rainfall more than anything else. Why? Because, again, into the next couple of days, hopefully we get something out of this, and the computer models are very enthusiastic about this rainfall chances coming on through. But for right now, this is what we're looking for in the way of less for the month, almost 3 inches behind for November. We, in September, October, and November, we have not gotten even an inch, not even a half an inch of rainfall. Last time we got over an inch was about the first 10 days of August, and that was it. It's been exceptionally dry since then, and for the month and into the year itself, 9 2/3 inches behind. In a couple of days, if we don't get any rainfall, we will be close to 10 inches behind on rain for the year. Don't want to approach the end of the year by winding up a foot behind or so. That's a major, major deficit taking place. So not any good news there. Temperature about 10 degrees behind a record high. 44 degrees, our record low, last set back in 1914 for Chattanooga, and that was 12 degrees above zero. We see again a very breezy day out there with wind gusts around 27 miles per hour, and we may be looking at even more gusty conditions coming up into the course of the next couple of days. Rain just before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, again just west of the Chattanooga area and News 12 counties. DeKalb and Jackson counties in Alabama, you'll be winding up with some of that rainfall first. Grundy, Sequatchie, Bledsoe counties, you'll be getting that next. And that, again, will be moving our direction into the next several hours. Now, a lot of the activity down to our south, we're not seeing hardly anything at this time where it comes to anything involving lightning. There's a whole bunch well on down to our south, but for right now, it looks like most of the activity we've been watching has been decently quiet. It's just rainfall at this time, and we're not showing anything in the way of, well, I guess we are getting a few lightning strikes there. Let me see if I can get there we go. Okay, those cells between Jackson, Mississippi, and Birmingham in Montgomery, around about north of Montgomery, starting to see some lightning strikes there. But all of this is basically rainfall, so we're just not getting too much of anything out there in the way of major amounts of problems for right now. We may see again the potential for some decent amounts of heavier rain out across portions of the area, but for right now, it does not appear to be anything in the way of flash flooding material. The ground is so dry at this time that we're just not picking up much of anything in the way of problems for that, so we could be seeing some issues there. The problem I've got, again, watching all this rainfall come on through, let me switch out to the regional scan and show you that we've got this rain coming our direction, and this is hopefully a decent amount coming through. that will be moving into the area and sticking around for maybe a couple of hours. Whether or not we get an inch or more, we could, according to some of the computer models. But for right now, this is decently limited. And let me show you one other scan here. This is radar, and this is just showing the reflectivity about where the strongest amount of rain is, and that's in a lot of these cells where you see the red across parts of southern Mississippi and eastern parts of Louisiana. Here's where it gets interesting. If you take a look on the water vapor imagery, and this is really neat to take a look at because this gives you an idea as to where the moisture is and where it is not. The moisture is in the gray and the whites. That's the greatest amount of moisture. You can see that from these cloud tops, and you get a little bit more color in there. That's the coldest, the highest cloud tops out there, and that's where the concentration of moisture is at its greatest. But look at what is chasing it up right now, right off the desert southwest, right off of northern Mexico. There's a strong dry line coming through here, not a dry line specifically triggering off storms, but this is a lot of very focused dry air moving across the Mississippi and chasing this moisture from the southwest. Now, what I'm thinking at this time, this could erode a lot of this moisture, and our chances for rainfall may be over with before it could really get going, because this moisture is coming, this dry air is coming along through here and chewing this up from the west. So it's possible we may wind up with less rainfall than the computer models are assuming we're going to get because of this dry air right behind it. I'm hoping that's not the case, but we will wait and see, again, to give us an idea as to what's going on. We do have, again, this is really not good news, just a ton of brand new fires, especially across the south central and southeastern United States, all the way up into around the mid-Atlantic and parts of the Appalachians, getting some more smoke from fires going on in those locations. For the last couple of days, we've been seeing a lot more of that activity going on, and most of that smoke is being blown back our direction. So we are seeing some lower air quality, but it's spread out, so it's not as bad as it was from those fires from around Ontario and Quebec earlier during the year. So we're not seeing that, but we are seeing more smoke being drifting off the flow of these fires down to the south of us. Now, here's where the situation is for right now. Again, our area of low pressure moving our way fairly intense, and that's going to stir up some heavier potential of stronger storms down to our south for later on tonight. But check this out back here. Again, that air coming in from off the desert southwest and off of Mexico. There's not much going on back here. Most of our moisture is coming in from off the Gulf. So whether or not we get anything substantial out of this, I would love to say I'm in agreement with a lot of the computer models, or at least some of the models that are showing the heavier amounts of rainfall coming on through, but I'm really dubious about this drier air well back to the west of us, so we will continue to monitor that. Now, according to the forecast models at this time, let me see if I can find that one model back. Okay, this is the GFS model, and again, into the next several hours, we start to see by tomorrow morning at this time, about an inch averaging out across the area. And if that rain stays with us through the rest of the day into around the afternoon and evening hours, it's possible, according to this, that we could be winding up with the potential of maybe some decent amounts of rainfall that could give us a pretty good soaking out across portions of the area. Now, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm not rooting against this in any stretch of the imagination, but we could be, again, seeing that potential for less in the way of rain. Going to the European models, this is where we start to see, again, some coming on through, but a little bit less than what we're picking up on the GFS model. So a little bit more conservative at this time. And again, for the rest of the week, it appears that most of what we're looking at is going to be well on down to our south and to our east. Now, some of that, again, about 2 to 3 inches, does track into northeast Georgia, where the heaviest possible thunderstorms will be tonight into tomorrow. But again, this cutoff between the drier air and the moisture-rich air, that's a pretty sharp cutoff. And whether or not we actually wind up with anything, still on the iffy side at this point in time. So I would love to see it, but I just don't see it really happening all that well, according to what we just saw, according to some of those models, which is why And again, this will be canceled hopefully by the time we get enough rainfall. But that red flag warning, earlier tonight we said it was in effect for the entire area. That's not quite true. It's in effect for part of the News 12 viewing area, especially East Monroe and East Polk counties in Tennessee and Cherokee County in North Carolina in the News 12 viewing area. Again, this is the best possibility for the worst spread of wildfires. So burning, again, not a good idea. There are numerous burn bans in effect. If you'd like to see more about that, head to our social media pages for more and more details, again, about what's going on here with the authorities. We'll be bringing you that throughout the course of the rest of the evening and tomorrow morning on daybreak. So definitely want to stay tuned for more on that. Now, we also have wind advisories in effect. They've been canceled for Mississippi, Middle Tennessee, and northern Alabama still in effect. The counties in gold from Pennsylvania down to Alabama will be seeing the breeziest winds out there. And a couple of viewers have pointed out, okay, well, what's this all about right in here, to where we have nothing going on for Hamilton County and the rest of the News 12 viewing area. Well, for that particular location, we do not have anything in effect in that gap because the winds are not expected to be quite as terrible in between the higher elevations of the Cumberland Plateau and the Appalachians. So from Knoxville and give or take I-40 down to the Tennessee line in Chattanooga, winds in this area will probably only hit to just below wind advisory strength, which is 40 miles per hour plus. That's the time frame where the National Weather Service starts issuing wind advisories. So that is something that we're going to have to watch. It's going to be choppy, no question about that, even in this gap area where nothing is going on. But that is something, again, to monitor, especially if you're driving, and especially if you're driving a high-profile vehicle. That, again, is going to be one of the worst things out there, with those winds coming in from out of the south, southeast, and then turning around from the north. Anything east-west will be having that wind push against your vehicle, so it could be a little choppy out there tomorrow, even in the Tennessee River Valley, so keep that in mind. In the areas shaded in purple, that is a high wind warning, and that is in effect, and again, for eastern Monroe County, right back up to about Johnson City and into and around just south of the Virginia-Tennessee line. That area, for where it's shaded in purple, right along the spine of the Appalachians, that is where we see the potential of winds, no, I'm not kidding about this, gusting between 50 to 85 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service in Morristown. So, again, very much on the windier side. The higher up you go in elevation, the worse the winds will be as this system plows through the area. So we'll be expecting some fairly breezy winds, Cumberland Plateau, southern News 12 viewing area, parts of the Appalachians, 40 miles per hour plus, purple shaded counties, high wind warning. That is, again, 50 to 85 mile per hour wind gusts possible. So now for tonight, what exactly are we looking for? So far, again, for the next few hours, going into about, say, midnight, wind gusts, it's a little breezy in Chattanooga right now, but we'll be seeing wind gusts upwards of the teens to 20 miles per hour, even pushing 40 miles per hour. Into overnight, that's where we start seeing, again, the potential of those winds, mid to upper 40 to lower 50 mile per hour winds overnight. And then we get into around tomorrow morning, roundabout bus stop time for the kids that still have school out there tomorrow, and several schools are still in session for Tuesday, so bus stop time will be breezy. Worst of the worst, I think, is going to be north central Georgia and the eastern part of the News 12 viewing area. Notice those wind gusts right there, about 40 to 50 miles per hour plus. So we're talking about some rather inclement conditions for out driving tomorrow. So I'd keep a very good weather eye on what's going on ahead of you in traffic, what may be coming down the opposite lanes, because if somebody starts having a lot of wind issues, especially semi-trailers, great big SUVs, delivery vans, anything that has bigger surface area for that wind to catch, you could see some accidents happen right in front of you. So I think tomorrow, not trying to borrow trouble, this is not trying to panic anybody, this is just looking at the potential possibilities out there. And I think for right now, that's going to be the worst of the worst that we see. Now, there could be, again, some stronger weather out there, but for right now, for wind potential, that's what we're looking for, just sustained winds for the possibility of those gusting upwards a little bit. Now, what's going on where it comes to anything involving severe weather? The main target zone for tonight is going to be well to our south, where there are those tornado warnings going on. Jackson, Mississippi, north of the Crescent City, around the Delta area. That'll be generally the best possibility of severe weather for tonight. Now, again, the dark green, that's showing again a marginal threat. It's still a threat of severe weather, but it's out of the News 12 viewing area. The pale green color indicates the possibility of just generic thunderstorms. We're not seeing a severe weather threat for overnight for the News 12 viewing area, so good news on that. Now, into tomorrow, I think there is a potential for northeast Georgia to possibly see some severe weather taking place. Again, we're not talking about much. On a scale of 0 to 10, I'd say a 1 out of 10, maybe a 2, but that is getting south of Atlanta in that area for where we may see the worst of the worst activity there. That is going to be the best potential. And again, down to southwest Georgia, southeast Alabama, and the western panhandle of Florida, that's going to be the best potential with that slight risk category, which again is not a severe weather outbreak, but it is the best concentrated area for severe weather. Again, coming up tomorrow, we see again the possibility of thunderstorms. The severe weather threat well to our south, but northeast Georgia, just southeast of the News 12 viewing area. I'd be watching that very carefully overnight. Of course, Chip Chapman will have more on the forecast coming up bright and early. And then the threat by Wednesday is pretty much gone, heading on over to the east of us. All right, so let's time things out into tomorrow morning. Rain chances overnight, moving our way. Upper 50s, that's about as cool as it gets, but we're not done yet. We'll be looking for some of those showers and thunderstorms again, northeast Georgia, the Carolinas, southeast Tennessee. That's where we could see the potential of some of that rain lingering, but mostly clearing on out into most of Tuesday, and then that's it for the rainfall for us. We see the potential of some fairly chilly but cloudy conditions coming up Wednesday morning, but clear. No rain, no thunderstorms, no severe weather, no winter weather showing up. So for one of the busiest travel days of the year, looking okay, and then clearing out a little bit, but temperatures through the day should remain steady. Maybe the lower 50s if we get enough sunshine out there, but definitely a change in the weather coming up on Wednesday. Clearing out, and that means the temperatures will drop as we go into very early Thursday morning. So getting up to get the turkey on, getting the tofu ready to go, whatever your food choices are for a happy Thanksgiving. Chilly to start things off, no question. 20s back over into Middle Tennessee and northern parts of Alabama. Then we go into the rest of Thursday, and it looks like we might get close to 60 degrees. We'll also see the clouds retreat south of Atlanta, so mainly clear skies all across the area, which means sunshine, which means getting out for a walk after that overload of calories, of which I'm planning to have on Thursday afternoon. No major problems being seen here, but we do have, again, that potential for some colder conditions coming on through, especially into the holiday itself. Now, for those of you who are going to be traveling in the next few days, let's go ahead and time things out so you have an idea as to what's happening. Again, Wednesday, all that stuff moves east of us, so that should take care of the rainfall chances. Thursday, excellent holiday, no problems with plenty of sunshine, but a bit on the brisk side. Friday morning, very early, it is possible we could see a return to some clouds and some rainfall. I think mainly south of Chattanooga. So Huntsville, Birmingham, Atlanta, south of Chattanooga, there may be some raindrops as you're heading out to catch some of those early morning deals. Let's be careful out there, especially if there are wet parking lots and a lot of people darting in between cars. Definitely want to get off the accelerator and the phone and watch what's going on in front of your vehicle to avoid any long, boring conversations with your insurance agent and or the authorities. Now, on Saturday, no problem at all. A few clouds, looks like it'll be clearing out. A very nice first half of the weekend coming up. Early on Sunday, that's when everybody is going back, grandma heading back home, or you going home from grandma's house. Either way, we look to see a potential of another wave coming our direction. Sunday early, Texas to I-70, that's where we see some rainfall chances coming on through. And then north of I-70, that's where we get the potential of maybe some winter weather, cold enough for snow. St. Louis, Columbia, Kansas City, St. Joe, all the way back up to parts of the Twin Cities and the western Great Lakes. That's where we could see, again, that potential for some winter weather out there. So that could be just a bit of an issue in some areas. Notably, again, I did not say anything about here. That's where we see just the possibility of some cloud cover. And then we get into Sunday night and very early Monday morning. That rainfall chance moves our direction. So if you're waiting until late Sunday, early Monday to catch a flight or to do your traveling, I would say this could be a slowdown. Again, winter weather way to our north, and that doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. And then that system is out of here. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday looks pretty good. But then toward the end of the week after next, and the end of the month, possibility of another round of rain. Yes, it may be a problem for travelers. Yes, it may be a problem for outdoor activities. Right now, we need this rainfall. So outdoor activities, this again could be a problem, but I think for right now, this is where we could be seeing our relief coming through. November is a little bit rainier than October, so we're looking at more chances of rain, statistically speaking, for the month of November because it is a wetter month. More precipitation happens because of that change in seasons coming on through. So whether or not we get to that point, bit on the iffy side to see what goes on because, again, November has not been a rainy month so far. Hopefully it will be, but for right now, we'll have to kind of wait and see what exactly goes on with that. So that's the main potential that we're looking at, again, for right now across much of the area. So that is going to be our setup for the next few days. We'll have more on this coming up a little bit later on, so stay tuned for more on that with News 12. Island Cove, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover and sky shine, plenty of that taking place across portions of the area. But for our 7-day forecast, again, this is where we start seeing the windy conditions tomorrow. Again, those wind advisories and the possibility of some choppy conditions on the roadway. But temperatures will be very much on the mild side as we see numbers back in the mid to upper 60s, maybe even close to the lower 70s across much of the area there. Then on Thanksgiving, maybe, if we get lucky, the possibility of lower 50s, upper 40s could be a rule across much of the area. Partly cloudy skies, again, into around Thursday evening. That is where we see the potential of maybe some showers taking place for the early morning shoppers on Friday. And then after that, temperatures remain quite steady in the mid to upper 50s, lows in the 30s and 40s. So far, not showing any signs of frost coming on through. So good news, again, where that is concerned. But again, very much on the chilly side. That is where we see that potential of some pretty brisk numbers. And the next chance of rain, as we showed you coming up next Monday, hopefully we get something out of that toward about the end of the month. And we're coming up on December very quickly. So as we go into the next several days, we're really hoping that we're going to be getting some more of that rainfall rather than the dry conditions, because that wildfire threat out there for right now is just really not helping out. And we could see if we don't get a good soaking out of this, or if we go back to dry weather very quickly and that wrings the moisture out of the atmosphere and the plants, we could be looking at an extended dry, dangerously dry season going into December. And then our wildfire season continues for an unseasonable amount of time. And that is where we start seeing a lot more problems. Again, anything involving fire outdoors, even though we're going to be picking up more chances of rain as we go into tonight and early tomorrow, as things dry out into the next couple of days, we're really going to want to watch, again, as the dry weather stretches out from any chance of rainfall we get, because we might briefly beat back the chances of wildfires going hog wild. We really need to be cautious in those drier periods, because yes, this is going to be good for whatever we get out of it. Hopefully it'll be more than a half an inch, more than an inch, maybe a couple of inches if we're lucky on that. But the longer we go between those chances of rain, our wildfire threat will be with us once again. So again, the dangerous possibilities will be out there for quite some time. So that apparently is going to be, again, a bit of an issue out there through the forecast. So tomorrow on the links, showers and thunderstorms, especially in the morning and the early afternoon. Hitting the links tomorrow, may want to wait until late in the day, and even then, maybe a good day to stay indoors and read a book on golf. Same thing for going out with anything involving sports opportunities outdoors, fishing, hiking, camping, anything like that. More chances of showers and thunderstorms, so a poor day for catching a fish into tomorrow, and that's just the sustained winds right there. Anything else is going to be very problematic and could be even dangerous for driving around out there for longer periods of time. So that is something that really needs to be taken seriously into tomorrow. Downtown Chattanooga, some low clouds and continuing to see some fairly breezy conditions starting to shape up. You notice that the clouds moving a little quicker out there. Bailey's heating and air camera from downtown Chattanooga. Lee Point at 153 and 64 highways. Plainview outdoor advertising camera. Traffic less than what it was a little while ago, but everything moving along quite nicely there. I-24, middle of your screen on the News 12 studio camera, sponsored by Patriot Concrete, looking out toward the area of Signal Mountain off there in the horizon. A little hazy, a little bit of wind-blown dust, and maybe some smoke out there in the higher elevations as well from downtown. Tomahawk crane and rigging camera. Traffic again from 75 north going to 24 west, right to left across the screen. That's the traffic that's heading into that construction zone. Southbound traffic 24 east to 75 south is moving along well. Head 24 east to 75 north is also doing very well at this time. I don't believe the Asian Lantern Festival was in motion tonight, so we don't have too many lights from our brand new camera at the Chattanooga Zoo, but you can check out all these cameras available at EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network. You can get there at WDEF.com/weather. And from downtown, from the North Shore, I should say, Speedy's Total Car Care camera from the North Shore at the Chattanooga Theater Center overlooking Coolidge Park. You can see the trees kind of whistling back and forth a little bit, some of the branches in motion, and a little fuzzy on the view right there. A few folks crossing the bridge, but a little bit on the dusty side tonight thanks to those winds that are really starting to kick up at this time, and we'll continue to see the potential for more of those winds overnight. Now, winds at the airport, not bad, southeast at about 5 miles per hour. They're not doing too bad at this point, but we all can continue to see more chances of wind into tomorrow morning. Thanking one of our own here at News 12, WDEF News 12, David Sprayberry. A gorgeous view from just outside the News 12 studios. That's our Monday's West Shore home weather window picture of the day. And if you've got pictures out there, we'd love to see them and show them. So go ahead and send them in to us at pictures@WDEF.com. Again, you can send them to our Facebook, X, or Instagram pages, and we'd love to see what you're seeing out there. So go ahead and send those in to us. Once again, with severe weather, the second severe weather season upon us, want to make sure everybody's aware of this. These are the only meetings that we have from the National Weather Services that cover our area. And News 12 viewing area is covered over by 4 different National Weather Service locations: Huntsville, Peachtree City, Atlanta, Georgia, back into Nashville, and National Weather Service Morristown. They're the ones who are issuing the Skywarn meetings training session. The next one coming up for the News 12 viewing area will be coming up in a little less than a couple of weeks, and that's at McMinn County Courthouse in Athens, Tennessee, Thursday, December 7th, 2023, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, it's totally free. It's paid for by your tax dollars and my tax dollars, but register for a seat at weather.gov/MRX. Again, it's no cost. It's not some, for the conspiracy theorists out there, they're not trying to gain track of you by registering for a Skywarn meeting. Strangest thing I think I've ever heard of in that respect. Again, just register, be polite, tell them you're going to show up, register for a seat, because then if 60 people show up instead of 30, they know ahead of time to get a bigger room. It's just being a nice person. That's all it is. So register for a seat there. Again, that's for Athens, Tennessee, and roughly around the McMinn County area. Now, if you're in Chattanooga or around the Hamilton County area, this meeting is for you, and it's not until next year. It'll be held on Friday, February 9th at CHI Memorial on DeSales Avenue in Chattanooga. Friday, February 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 2024, so that's next year, upcoming. So if you're going to be doing anything you'd like to learn about becoming a storm spotter, not a chaser. This again is where chasers start out, but this is not a chase course. This is you spotting for the National Weather Service and learning safety, how to read a radar, what to look for in the clouds, how to be safe when these things start rolling on through. So this is your opportunity to do so, and this is one of the best ways I've ever heard of to participate in citizen science. So if you'd like to participate, again, and you live in Hamilton County or Chattanooga, please show up here. Please register, but please show up. And the more Skywarn spotters we have all over the place, the better off we're all going to be, because that information that you provide by calling in and saying, this is John or Jane Smith calling from downtown Chattanooga at 3300 Broad Street at the News 12 studios. I see a rotating wall cloud moving northeast at approximately 50 miles per hour. We also have wind damage. We also have baseball-sized hail. We also have ABCDQ. That's the information that the National Weather Service can take a look at and say, the storm is here, it's going this direction, so anywhere between here and here, that's the information that your neighbors are giving, and that is something that we can put out to the public and to broadcasters and professional meteorologists like myself to let everybody else know what's going on. Your information could help save a life, and that is really a cool thing to have. I tell junior high and high school students all the time, this looks awfully good on a resume that shows you are willing to volunteer your time and efforts to help keep your community safer. I've been a Skywarn spotter since 1980, so if that gives you any ideas, no, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, no matter how much you beg or how much root beer is involved. But in the meantime, that's a good opportunity to share. Now, what if you can't make the meetings? Got a solution for that too. All you have to do is go to the COMET website, the meteorological education site at MetEd, and they have an online Skywarn spotter training. Now, they recommend that if you take this course, you take an in-person course hosted by the National Weather Service that covers your area if they teach them, so that you can get on their roles, on their rosters, things like that, and also learn what local weather is all about. This is a generic severe weather course. It's taught the same thing online in Seattle, Washington, as it is in Bangor, Maine, as it is in Los Angeles, California. It doesn't matter where you take this. You can take the course, but if you take a local severe weather Skywarn training course, you can learn from the National Weather Service meteorologists and personnel what the worst type of weather is and what you need to be on the lookout for here in this area. It's different in Topeka, Kansas, where I grew up, in Fort Smith, Arkansas, or in Memphis, Tennessee, places where I've lived and worked. And here in Chattanooga, it's a little bit different. So if you'd like to know more about that, take the local course. But if you'd like to take the online course, because there's nothing being offered anywhere near you, meted.ucar.edu and sign up for the course. You have to register. Totally free, but it's just a registration to keep track of who's taking the course and things like that, just like Skywarn. So again, you can take it anytime you want to. Great opportunity to learn more, so please consider becoming a Skywarn spotter today. Again, the more Skywarn spotters we have, the better off we will all be. I think we've gone long enough for tonight. We've gone over half an hour again. Amazing that we had enough to talk about here tonight on all this going on. Our Panagua Auto Mall question of the day, our forecasts for the next several days, our Food City Weather in the Classroom program, all that is available on our website, and you can get there. You can see our webcams, our EPB Weather Cam network available there. Go to wdef.com/weather. We post our replays of this weather blog on our website. So if you'd like to see more, go ahead and drop by and take a look at wdef.com/weather. Got a ton more information on there about the wildfires, about holiday events coming up, all kinds of neat things. So stop by, take our Panagua Auto Mall weather question poll of the day at wdef.com/vote now. If you'd like to participate in that brand new weather question coming up after midnight tonight, so sign up for more there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. Chip Chapman will have a forecast update bright and early on Tuesday morning, starting at 5 a.m. And, of course, I'll be back with you tomorrow night for Weather Overtime once again. Thanks for joining us on Monday evening, the 20th of November. Stay tuned for more with News 12 on air and online, and thanks for joining us.